Mzwanele Nyhontso is the president of the Pan-African Congress of Azania. He joins us now to speak about the statement that they made earlier on that the ANC is failing South Africans. Mr. Nyhontso, what in your view is the greatest contributor to your assertion that the ANC has failed South Africans for close on 3 decades now?
Firstly, the ANC has failed South Africans because they have not addressed the land question, which was the main reason why ANC and PAC were formed, which was the main reason why there was a liberation struggle in this country. The item of conflict was the land, and the ANC failed dismally to address the land question for almost 3 decades. Better than that, they have failed to pay reparations to victims of Sharpeville, of Langa, of June 16, of all the things that happened to our political leaders during apartheid. They have failed to pay those reparations. Above all, we see the unemployment, we see the crime, we see the poverty, we see education system, and all these things are only affecting Africans, not white people. And therefore the government that was said to be, or that was supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, is really failing the African people, the owners of the land, those who elected them to power, and it's really disappointing.
Now, some of the issues that you're raising were part of what has been bemoaned by the opposition EFF and some of those who took part in that national shutdown yesterday. We saw President Cyril Ramaphosa congratulating the people of DR for continuing with business as usual, but also at the same time acknowledging that human rights abuses continue and they're reflected in things such as lack of service delivery. I wonder, when you look at Langa today, do you feel that the president's speech or what he was saying today was just merely paying lip service, ameliorating those who would be quite bitter about where we are right now?
Oh yes, he was just paying lip service. I listened to him, and remember, he's the president. They are in charge. That's the reason why I was saying they are failing us. He is also acknowledging that there are problems, but what is he doing about those problems? What are they doing about what are the solutions for these problems that are facing us every day, including load shedding that is facing me right now where I am trying to talk to you. So he was just paying lip service. 28 years is enough. It's 28 years of betrayal. 28 years of betraying the very same African people who voted for them. And the only solution is next year's elections. South Africans must decide. The future is in their heads.
I'd like to posit something to you, that there are those who say, even though, like we saw in the last local government elections, that the ANC seems to be ceding ground to particularly opposition parties, but it is credit to those opposition parties that the ANC is still continuing to survive, that you haven't been able to do much to gain enough of a foothold on political power in the country to be able to change things, and also that you're not really playing your role as opposition parties effectively in terms of oversight. Your response to that?
No, we are playing our role. Firstly, the ANC in the local government elections lost. They got 46%. So truth is, opposition parties combined gained majority to rule this country. As we stand, they are losers. Let us not shy away from that. Secondly, we've played our role as opposition parties. Hence, we went to Parliament. We said we'll vote for accountability. The ANC used its majority arrogantly and voted against the law, voted against the findings of a committee formed by the very same Parliament, and that committee spent around 4 million. And yet when the report was tabled, the ANC voted against the report, and yet as opposition parties, we played our role. We said there is no accountability. I can name a lot of these things, but as opposition parties, I'm happy with what we are doing as PAC. I'm happy with how we are growing, and I'm happy how we are approaching the next elections.
How are you growing? You are hoping to get 8 to 10 seats in Parliament to the one that you currently have at the moment. But you also had to be very frank about the political infighting in your own party that you agree has actually taken precious time from you growing your party to becoming more influential to deal with some of these issues. I mean, 27 of the country's 257 municipalities receiving a clean audit in the financial year 2019 to 2020. And this was during this period when you, as a party, were taking each other to court.
Yes, and I admitted that infighting within the PAC has played a role in the demise of our PAC. And on the eve of local government elections, when everything was cleared by the courts of law, I said, yeah, in this studio at SABC, that we are going to contest these elections. We only registered 5 minutes before the closure. We could only manage to register few municipalities. And then in those municipalities, we managed to get a seat in almost all of them. And when I said it here that we're going to use whatever we received in these next local government elections and benchmark with it as a launching pad point for the next national elections. And indeed, we received 23 councillors who are part of some coalitions in the country. Those are represented in almost all the metros that we registered. Now we are using that and going to next year's elections. That's where we are gunning for 10 seats. We don't want to be ambitious and say we're going to win the elections. We are gunning for 10 seats, and we'll benchmark with that 10 seats for the next elections. And so far, I'm happy with the growth of the PAC. I'm happy with the fact that every day new members are joining PAC. I'm sure people saw PAC, also saw it today. I led the PAC march here in Sharpeville, and a lot of people were there. I was also shocked.
Allow me to ask this question because you have said the Sharpeville massacre and what the ANC has done so far has been an insult, particularly to the families of those who lost their loved ones. You've also said that as a party you would like to modernize, and I'd like to hear, are there any policy directives that you think that you're going to adopt now, because you say you want to revolutionize and you've identified an enemy, and that enemy is poverty, inequality, unemployment?
Yes, in fact, as we're speaking, we're preparing, we're submitting papers. We're heading for an annual conference in August. And this is the first annual conference for the past 8, 10, 15 years of the PAC. We have got that policy conference. We have invited papers, even from scholars, not only from PAC branches. We have invited a lot of people, scholars, politicians, analysts, but we are going to table those papers. Come August, we'll have policies on everything and on every department in this country. Because this is also history, because we've never had a policy conference.
Mzwanele Nyhontso is the Pan-African Congress president, and he is speaking about what the PAC said earlier on, the Pan-African Congress of Azania, calling out the ANC, saying that it's failed South Africans over the past close to 3 decades.